everyone, what's going on? I'm Meg Turney, and I like anime.
And I'm Ross Everett, and it's not my bowl of ramen.
Wah, wah. Welcome to Anime Club, you guys. This week we watched Trigun, which is one of my old school favorites. Love it.
If I am going to recap this as someone that's never watched a lot of anime before, it is a Western-style anime that takes place, but everyone's blonde and kind of like wearing almost form-fitting heavy clothing in the desert. My initial takeaway from this series, I was like, he's hot. He's gotta be hot. Look at that sun.
Bash the Stampede, let's just say Bishonen, for sure.
Shonen?
Bishonen. It means like he's hot, like a hot guy.
Smoking
Shoujo
hottie.
is like a cute girl, and Bishonen is like a hot guy.
He's also a little bit of a shoujo with those eyes. He's got those big eyes. So this was a really Western-feeling anime, which as someone that doesn't know anything, I was expecting a little bit more of like Japanese-infused culture, but this really kind of, as an American, like I was like, I've seen this before. I've seen this kind of stuff before.
There's a lot of influences for sure from old westerns. There's the saloon in episode 1, the shootouts. Bash's gun is like a very long pistol, which is very cowboy-esque. But the cool thing about it is it's also in the future, so it's like future-y western. Like
that moment where Mr. Cliff, was that his name? The rich guy in episode 2. He flashes him, but instead of nether bits, it was like guns whip out, and I felt like that. I was like, that's cool. I would see something like that in the movie Wild Wild West.
Exactly.
With Will Smith.
It's very Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Yeah. So what was your first impression of these first 2 episodes?
I love Trigun. I'd seen it a lot when I was younger, and it reminds me a lot of Cowboy Bebop, kind of from the other side, because Vash is the wanted man as opposed to the bounty hunters like in Cowboy Bebop. I just love how wacky it is. It's definitely heavy on the action, but it's still really wacky. Vash is so lovable, and he loves donuts. He always has like random, I am dodging all the bullets, which reminds me a lot of Usagi from Sailor Moon. When she like tries to dodge things, she always does the weird poses, which I love.
Like an interpretive dance. I really did like that, because like I didn't know if this guy was Vash, because like the first episode, that is a mystery the entire time, and the second episode, it wasn't until the end where he's like, well, I guess I am that guy. Like, and I was like, oh, he was that guy the entire time.
He didn't want to get arrested.
But I was like, is everything happening to this guy on accident? Is he just the luckiest guy in the entire world, or is he really that good? And to be honest, I still don't know. I'm going to have to watch a couple more episodes just to figure it out. The parts that threw me that I didn't like was when his face turned into a cat, and because you brought up
Kuroneko.
Yes?
Kuroneko. Black cat.
Kuroneko. Oh, is that what that means? You brought him up and I was like, oh, you mean when his face turned into a cat? And you were like, no, that apparently there's an Easter egg hidden in every episode.
Well, yeah, Kuroneko is an actual cat that appears in every single episode of Trigun. In the first episode, he's in the bar, and then in the second episode, we see him near the well, being pulled along on a leash. The creator of Trigun actually said that he created Kuroneko to break up the monotony of like different action scenes. He's like just something calming to draw between action scenes, which I love.
His therapist was like, listen, you're a little on edge. I want you to draw a cat a bunch of times and put it into your manga. Manga? Manga. But so I thought that there were some funny moments, like when that guy was shooting and he carves his face into the rock with the gun. I liked the donut thing that he had going on. I thought it was a real fun character to follow. The first episode I thought had a lot of cool action stuff. You got that boomerang that cuts the rock in half. The second episode, not so much. And I had a hard time trying to wrap my mind around it from like a Western point of view, because with our TV shows, it's either serialized or episodic. Either the same thing kind of happens in every episode, or something happens over the course of a series. So I think that this would, if I had to categorize that in my brain, this is more serialized, because there's no real format for the show itself.
No, it's not like a procedural where you know this is going to happen and this is going to happen, but you do know that Vash is going to be awesome and hilarious, and then something is going to happen that's not really his fault, but it's going to get blamed on him.
He's just a natural disaster in the body of a person.
But he doesn't do the things that like cause everything, like the rock that crushes the city in the first episode.
Wasn't his fault. So what kind of anime would you say this is?
The manga premiered in Shonen Captain, so it's definitely a shonen anime. There's tons of action. You can drill it down further than that, but in the most general sense, it's definitely shonen.
When he's dropping down to like spy on the girl in the shower, I was like, immediately, I was like, this ain't a kid's cartoon.
It's for like a little bit younger audiences, but I mean, like,
yeah.
She wasn't in the shower.
Yeah, if she was in the shower, then that would have been...
That's like a
hentai.
hentai.
Okay, that one I know. So that's what I thought. That's what we thought.
Yeah.
If you guys want to pitch in and say what you thought, you guys can go to netflix.com/SourceFed and you get 1 free month, and it helps us out, helps you out, a little something, something. And you can watch our next week's anime, which is
Soul Eater. And just as a personal aside, listen, when I first started cosplaying, Vash the Stampede was like every dude did that, and it's kind of gone away. So if we could just bring that back, that would be wonderful. I'm Meg Turney.
I'm Ross Everett.
Here's what you guys thought of Trigun.
So Vash the Stampede is your everyday, quirky bandit with $60 billion double dollars on his head. I don't know how much that converts into US money, but I'm assuming it's $120 billion.
I like the characters of Meryl and Millie. Millie is just so sweetly naive, you kind of just want to wrap her in a blanket and take her home. And Meryl has just got this wonderful cynicism about her.
Trigun is perhaps one of my favorite animes ever.
$60 billion double dollars.
Really love the character. It starts off really big with that like animated in ones, you know, just 24 frames of just vintage animation. Really well styled, clever, funny.
It definitely is 90s to the core, from how it presents its action to how it presents the characters to how the animation works, as well with the comedy. It's very 90s, very 90s, which is fine. It's definitely a product of its time period, which is a good thing.
Having watched this when I was younger, I thought that I would just start watching this again and be like, oh yeah, this is what was going on. But I didn't remember any of it. The more I watched, the more I'm like, I don't understand why I watched this. And I know that sounds terrible to a lot of anime fans out there because this is kind of a big one, but it kind of fell flat watching it as an adult.
What interests me about this anime the most is that Vash, the main character, he's unable to kill his opponents due to his high moral fiber, even at the cost of his own life or the lives of others. However, it's very interesting to see how he can defeat his opponents without his weapon.
What was the big guy's name? The big robot guy?
Oh, he was not a robot. He had bolts, and he was big, but he's not a robot.
Okay, but the blonde guy was a robot.
Not a robot.
What about Ruth Loose? He was a robot.
Not a robot.
That cat was definitely a robot.
Kuroneko-sama is not a robot.
Definitely a robot. Okay, but that little kid in the beginning of episode 2, totally a robot.
Everyone's actually robots.
All it.